Good morning, moms. Hope you had a fantastic Labor Day weekend. A lot of you I know are starting school. I'm hopeful and we are praying that your first days of school are blessed. I have to tell you that last night was our precursor, letting everybody know new bedtime schedule started, all of that. 50% of my school was in prayer or in tears. So for all those moms who see the posts go up that homeschool win, my kids are loving school, all of those type of things, just know that in the Pratt household, that's not the picture we're posting today. So we have the homeschool we want, and then we have the homeschool that we actually have. And in this case, unfortunately, this year our kickoff on a homeschool was a bit of tears. But I'm not giving up. Kristen says, "Hey, Pollyanna, how you gonna spin this one?" And unfortunately, I didn't do a very good job. But they woke up this morning and there were notes on their desks, and we're gonna celebrate tonight. My last check at home was that things were going pretty good for the first day of school. There were no more tears than there were last night. So I'm praying that your homeschool is going well. Even if it's not, don't be discouraged. Know that you're not alone, and that we're all in this together. Okay, so today I want to talk about a couple things. Before I get into timelines, I'm going to show you something that's really exciting. One of the things, and I know some of you are tired of hearing about it, paper quality, binding, that type of thing on the books that we're doing. Well, we've listened to a lot of the feedback that you're giving us in the group, and we've really been working hard with the printers and whatnot to come up with a better solution. And so here's a My Story 1 that we've had in the past. The print quality, I think the book was fantastic, but we've taken some of the feedback that you've given us, and we've gone to some of the printers that we enjoy working with, and we said, how can you work with us and help us create a better product? So it's not available and everything yet, but I just want to give you an idea of where we're going with it. There will be a modest increase to the price to cover some of the costs, but I think it'll definitely offset the value that you're getting with the books as we move into the next 2019. Okay, so here's My Story 1. You can kind of see it, and then hopefully I'm joined today by my lovely assistant Brittany. And she's going to capture as much of this as we can because it's a little bit different. So be sure to comment, let us know you're watching. If you have any questions, please ask, and then she can interrupt me. She has permission to interrupt me and let me know what the questions are. But so here's the past book, and you can see the thickness of this book. So this was the editions that we're shipping. This is what the new edition will be, almost about 25% thicker. And what that's going to do actually is it gives us what's called a lay flat binding. Some of you have seen this in some of it. The binding actually almost breaks away and allows the book to lay flat. And there's a difference. That would be the lay flat binding. This would be the binding that traditionally comes on the book. So the lay flat binding actually will help be a little bit more functional. The other thing, paperweight is something, this paperweight I think is 50 or 55 pounds. This paperweight is a much heavier paperweight, and because a lot of you talk about perfing, can you just hear the quality? And so it's a much cleaner edge. The quality of the paper is it's much thicker, so even the bleed through, you're not able to see through as much. And just to show a little bit more of a test of some more paper, actually has a much higher tear out. So we're excited about the fact that we're going to be able to provide a little bit higher quality of a product on some of the series that we have printing. The other thing that I did, I thought, well, let's put it to the test. And so I poured a glass of water on it because if you were in my homeschool, chances are your school book is going to end up under water. And so it actually stood up to the water test. That when you see what it looks like, you can tell that it went underwater. But it actually, the ink didn't bleed and the paper held pretty well. So that's what to expect coming forward in 2019. Math lessons, my story, language lessons for a living education. A lot of those multicolor books are going to be moving in this format. And so we're excited to let you know about that. We do hear you, and we're working hard to make sure that our product is the best.
Laura asks, should I assume the new book will have the same content?
Yes. Yep, same content. It's just thicker because of thicker paper, and the only time that there would be a change would be if there's been an error reported or something of that nature. Usually the new editions, as we print new editions, every time an edition goes to be reprinted, we look at the error files and see, was there anything reported, was there anything that we realized needed to be adjusted, and we move it forward. We don't know, everything we sell today is what's in stock, and we don't typically manage what was available for it was past editions and stuff like that. But from the standpoint of being able to make sure that as they roll into the new ones, it will be improved from the paper standpoint and that type of thing. Now that's going to happen over the course of time, so that hopefully by next summer of 2019 we'll have the much higher qualities and that type of thing. Okay, so I want to talk about timelines today, a little bit about the products that we offer, and just give some clarity to it. Some of you may know about them, some of you may not, but also maybe some tips that you could get from it. A lot of you have your own ideas for building timelines. Some people like to do it in a book. Some people like to put a strip on the wall and paste different things. We allow and encourage a lot of that creativity. But we also have some prepackaged timelines that would be great for resources for your homeschool or for your home or for your church. And I'm going to show you those. I'll demo them here, and then Brittany and I are going to go out into the outer part where it's more dangerous because people can come out and say just about anything and walk into that situation. But we're going to chance that to show you the books. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the number one selling timeline that we offer, and when I lay this thing out, you're going to be amazed. It's the Adams Chart of History. This history chart was developed in the late 1800s, actually, and sold. We got the rights to it, repackaged it. It actually is hand glued together because of how big it is and massive. And this opens up like a book. Now we sell it in two formats. So it sells in a panel form that you can mount to the wall, or it sells in a hard case form. For a lot of people that don't have 23 feet of wall space, it works really good to have it this way. And it opens up, and this is all glued to the, let's see, it's glued to the hardcover book. And so it stores this way and can open up you can open it up into one long panel, which we'll demonstrate, or you can go through history panel by panel. And so we come to the Tower of Babel, and then it goes out into the different into each of the different cultures and civilizations and whatnot. And Brittany actually has done quite a bit of research on this, so I may pick her brain even though she may not be ready for that. Okay, so the Adams Chart Map of History is one of the options we have. There is a little brother, so to speak, which is our From Adam to Jesus. It's a 13-foot timeline. I'm going to show you this one as well. This has more information regarding biblical history. It has the same type of information, creation starting through all the tribes, through Noah, through Tower of Babel, the flood, all of that to the time of Jesus. And so this would be great for ancient history or biblical history. It's great to go along with a Bible study, something of that nature. And I'm going to demo that. A more modern edition of a timeline would be the Big Book of History. Again, this book of history comes in the hard case edition, which can be done opened up panel by panel and stored, or we also have a panels only edition.
Megan says, today's to do, find a 23-foot wall in the house.
Well, yes. Believe it or not, Megan, some people have, at a convention, somebody took this panel, dissected it, and remodeled their bathroom in it. So there's multiple uses for this. I also think it makes a fantastic slip and slide. But that's besides the point. Okay, so we have the 23 book, or 20, this is a, what is this? 15 foot timeline. This actually covers biblical history, world events, inventions, technology, civilizations, and empires. I use this for the U Report history course, and I think this would be a fantastic tool for families to use alongside any history curriculum. I'm going to show you how I would do that, how I would recommend that, but you all have so many brilliant ideas. I think you probably already have some of these things in place, or maybe even have some other ideas. Feel free to share those, because I think it would be valuable to the group. So I'm going to demo this one, and then one last one that I'm going to show you, and this is a science chart. It comes in a panels only edition, but we'll demo it as well. And this is the Big Book of Earth and Sky, and it's actually like a huge poster that you can mount on the wall out onto the floor. And it goes from the upper atmosphere, the stars, the birds that would be there, all through the cloud types. And of course, this is part of the Sea, Soil, Sky course as well, but it just makes a great classroom visual for any science that you're studying, and done from a creation perspective. You're not going to find anything about millions of years, that they evolved a goo to you evolution, the monkey to you, any of that type of thing. It's all done from a God's creation standpoint, that the evidence that we see lines up with biblical evidence. So I'm going to take you out into the main part of the magic, and I will show you how these lay out and give you some tips. Any other questions?
Whitney would like to know if Adam to Jesus comes in a format you can put on the wall.
It does not. Right now, it is only in the book format, and it actually, this is set up more just in a book format. Now, the way the timeline is, you could cut it away from this, because the timeline actually stops a couple of panels away from the timeline stops here, so you could cut it away fairly easy right on this page. You could cut that one, or you could cut this one away if you wanted to, but it's not set up for wall mounting at this time.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so let's go out and I'll show you these in action. So here we are in the foyer of the magic. We have Josh. Most of you know Josh. He works with a lot of our digital marketing content. Josh is actually the hero who puts together the flash sale every Tuesday. So that's the connection point to Josh. Okay, so let's see, Brett. We'll shut this for now. This timeline opens up. Is that all the way open? We are actually, Miss Harriet is here. We are doing a Facebook Live. How are you, Miss Harriet?
I'm fine. I just wanted to tell you that I loved the train ride.
Oh, awesome.
It was very classy.
Awesome. Let's see. Okay. And of course, this is taped.
You picked a version that was
I've been
taped
doing that was
up.
taped up.
People are saying hi, Josh, and thank you for the flash sale.
Okay, so this is this timeline going 23 foot. It starts at the time of creation all the way through the biblical account of the flood. And you can see, let's see. Yeah, so Adam through the descendants of Seth to Methuselah to Noah. Noah at the time of the flood. His 3 sons, the Tower of Babel. And at the Tower of Babel, we see the dispersion of the different nations, and it goes down through civilization, and we come to, here's the Persian Empire. This would be the Colosseum and Rome at the time of the crucifixion. And along top, we have biblical history, and then it goes into New Testament history and church history. And Britt, there's different symbols, right? Like, do you remember what the cross is?
Crosses, I think, represent important, Christian. There's some crosses. Christian events that took place. I think the circles are important people or poetry.
There's flags which represent battles.
Right. And then a cool thing with these is you can see when different cultures kind of took over and they branched into new and let's see.
Here would be a good one because you have Julius Caesar, who is taking over huge amounts of space and empires.
Right.
And what I always find cool is here's Christ at the time of the crucifixion. We don't realize, we sometimes study the Bible in a vacuum, and we don't realize that there were other things going on in history. So while Christ is here in China, this was going on in China. I think Rome, there were things being established in Rome at the same time. And so we're able to see at different parts in history there were other world events going on, even though that's what was going on in the place of Rome and Jerusalem. So this chart is kind of the Cadillac. While I'm doing this, I'm going to ask Josh the price, if he knows the price, because I think it's recently changed, of this one.
It retails for $46.99, but you can get it on our website for $37.59.
So $37.59 for this one, but retails for
$46.99.
Okay. So what was the bottom line? $37.59. You can get this timeline for. Okay. So the Adam to Jesus timeline opens up. $13 feet, and on the one side, on the flip side of this, and that covers from the time of Christ, from the time of creation to the time of Christ. On the flip side of this is a panoramic portrait of Jerusalem at the time of crucifixion. Originally, this was like a huge mural painting that people would walk into and all be surrounded by all the different scenery of what Jerusalem would have been like at the time of crucifixion. And it has like the well, it has different feature points, highlights of like Mount Zion, the tents of the merchants, the temple of Herod, where the first gate of Jerusalem would have been, Golgotha. Really cool. So that's on the back side of Adam to Jesus, the 13-foot timeline. Okay. So, excuse me. Then we have the big book of history, which is phenomenal. Is that still more? Okay. this is easier for students, I would say this would be probably the one that you would look at, especially for students. It goes all the way to modern. The Adams chart goes to the late 1800s. This one actually goes all the way up to 2017 with President Trump. And you can see through the different inventions, technology, cultures. Just a great way to put all of history in context. We'll put links to all of this as well on this post. Now, so one of the neat things that you could do with this, timelines, if you wanted to create a timeline that when you studied history, what you could do is open the book up, look at it, and then make notes on it. You could tape things to it, that type of thing, and when you weren't using it, just fold it up for the classroom. But like the big book of history, let's say we were studying, at this time we were studying Julius Caesar. There are so many cool sticky notes and post-it tabs that are available that if you did, let's see, so here would be Julius Caesar. So I could put a sticky tab here, and every time we study somebody else, we could easily make a note that we've just studied that person, that event, and that's one way I could do it. There were pink hearts, but I couldn't bring myself to using a pink heart, so I'm going to use a green call out, but I could easily do the same thing with a call out like this. Now I could even, other than post-it notes, I could put special notes in here. You could do a lot of different things with these timelines and use this as kind of a spine, if you will, to supplement your history course. So when you're studying somebody like world story, and it goes from the ancients, and it follows the biblical timeline, and it goes from the ancients all the way up to the time of Christ, you could easily go through that and highlight or make a note, or even put a make your own image and that type of thing, and put sticky notes and tabs on this. And then when you fold it up, it would all just be folded up and saved, and anytime you wanted to, you could open it up. Now this is available for the wall. This is available for the wall as well. And then one last one. Any questions, Pratt?
No. Pamela said I can't find that one on the website, the history one.
The big book of history?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah.
We can double check that.
We'll be sure to post links, but it would be called Big Book of History. And then, okay. So one last that we will show is this one. And what a lot of people will do in a classroom setting is put this up and mount it up. This would be where the oceans would start. And so students can follow all the way down to the core of the earth, all the way up to where the oceans would start. There we go, thank you, Josh. And you can trace that all the way up, and then from here's where the ocean water would be, following up through the geology, through caves and geology, the water cycle, rainbows, precipitation, the tallest mountains, where Mount Everest would be, lightning, birds, where airplanes are flying, gases, and up into the atmospheres. And so this is a great resource that you could have mounted in the classroom or bring out to supplement any of the science courses that you're studying. Dinosaurs, fossils, bugs, anywhere in the ecosystem that you're studying, you can pretty much help a student put that in context. Because especially sometimes in an elementary level, it's really hard for a student to say, well, I'm studying the trophosphere. Well, where does the trophosphere fit into what I see and what I experience? And so we can put them very easily in the spot that they exist, and then make sense of where they're studying. So this comes in a panels only edition. It doesn't have a hardcover, but it's designed to be kind of put up more like a poster. And hopefully we've been talking about doing more posters as well. So those are the timeline options that we have that you can use to supplement your science and to supplement your history courses. And are there any other questions before we close out?
Not that I see.
Okay. Well, we will go back through this, and if you have any questions, we'll also be sure to put up posts for this. But this would be a great way to add the in context element to help a student understand how history lays out globally, so that when I'm studying the present day, I can relate that to how many years ago did Genghis Khan or Abraham or Julius Caesar or Amelia Earhart, where do they fit into the greater context of history, and understanding especially that history is God's story. And so from the beginning of time in creation, we have all of his story through the Bible that records the Bible, and while all of history is happening, he continues to advance and move forward his kingdom. Okay, good. Well, again, we pray that this week is blessed. For those of you who are just starting school today or have recently started, we are praying for your family, and we just want to encourage you that even in the seasons that may be rough, that it is definitely worth it. We've graduated 5. There were some hard days in that time, but at the same time, the reward is beyond anything we could have imagined those days. And so I would just like to encourage you that even though today may not be as easy as you hope it would be, that doesn't mean that the reward isn't going to be worth this day, because it is. All right, well, God bless you guys, and be sure to ask any questions. We'll answer them, and have a great rest of your day.